Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our Digitizing Your Health and Safety System webinar. Today's webinar will focus on how we can use digital platforms to achieve our safety goals and improve not only compliance, but also ease and efficiency. As builders, it is important that we not only make a safety plan, but we establish step-by-step processes to ensure that they are followed. Whether you are a builder, constructor, subtrade, worker, a part of a health and safety committee, or even a safety consultant, everyone on site plays a role in creating a safe environment, and digital platforms can help ensure that everyone is doing their specific tasks on time, every time. Before we begin, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that we are situated on traditional territories and treaty lands, in particular, those of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, as well as the Anishinaabe of the Williams Treaty First Nations, the Huron-Wendat, and the Métis Nation. As the ResCon office is located in Vaughan, we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin. This webinar will be recorded and emailed to all those who have registered for this event, and it will also be posted on our website. We encourage you to use the Q&A function throughout if you have any questions. And if you want to chat with us, also just throw it in the chat. We would love to hear your thoughts throughout, and I will pass it over to Andrew now.
Great, and thank you, Meredith, for that. And so this webinar is, I think, going to be pretty exciting. And so we wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to give an update kind of on health and safety, where ResCon's at, do a couple acknowledgements. So first off, would like to acknowledge the work of Meredith and Ahid, because as everybody knows, nothing gets done around here without them helping out. So big thank you to them. Also a big thank you to the ResCon Health and Safety Committee, as well as the members. I think we always took health and safety very seriously at ResCon, but we certainly upped our game during COVID. And I would say that we've continued to grow as health and safety leaders there. So I think we were good before COVID. We were great. I don't think there was another group that did more than we did during that time. And certainly, I don't think we've let the crown go. And so none of that happens without the members, without the Health and Safety Committee, and without the Board of Directors. We have leadership with government. We have leadership with the Ministry of Labor, WSIB, the CPO. We work well with our partners, including the IHSA. We've been able to expand our partnerships and are very excited to have Steve present on SafetyLoop, and obviously Rod from the WSIB to present on that. We also haven't shied away from any issues, whether it's looking at the crane regs, looking at the opioid crisis, involvement in the summer when there was issues related to heat stress and air quality. And so we, through the members and through the Health and Safety Committee, continue to make sure that we're addressing all of the issues. What is a little bit different about this webinar is usually health and safety, unfortunately, is reactive, and this webinar is a little bit more proactive. And so we want to be proactive. We want to be forward-looking. We want to be the ones that drive innovation in health and safety. We want to take control of our industry, control of our destiny, and make the changes that we need to make to be the safest industry, and to show new workers, existing workers, that this is a safe place and that this is the best sector of construction to be in. And so it's 2024. It's time to digitize. And the reason for that is not because everyone needs to get rid of all the paper in their office, although that's a byproduct of it. Anyone who's seen my office knows that I have a soft spot for paper. I spent time as an intern with the Paper Workers Union, and as they like to let us know, the trees do grow back. And so this is not a war on paper. But the idea with digitizing is, we all know in health and safety that you need a plan and it needs to be implemented, but it also needs to be audited, and we need to make sure that everyone is doing what they say they're going to do. Whether it's you as a builder, whether you're a constructor, whether you're working for a constructor, whether it's your trades, your safety consultants, engineers. It doesn't count if it's not documented. It doesn't count if you can't prove that it's been done. And so a quote that I've come across, and everyone knows I'm a bit of a nerd, and it was from Edwards Deming. And he's for people that like this stuff, you can say famous statistician. Other people will say that's an oxymoron, that no statistician is famous. But the quote is, in God we trust, and all others must bring data. And I think that's kind of the idea. It's not that we don't trust our partners. It's not that we don't trust ourselves. But when it comes to health and safety, when it comes to performing your due diligence, you have to be able to prove that you did what you said you were going to do. And so that is one of the big benefits of digitization. You will be able to make sure that tasks are assigned. You will be able to make sure that they're getting done because you'll be able to see it. Everyone will be on the same platform, and we'll learn a little bit about that today. So some of the benefits are improved safety outcomes, improved efficiency. Nobody's looking for paper, improved due diligence. And when we do all of that, we can also have reduced rates. And so at ResCon, we are here for the right reasons, but we're not going to shy away from the fact that being safe is also a good business decision. It helps when it comes to recruitment and retention, but it also comes and it will help with your direct rates. And so we're here for the right reasons, but we're also here as businesses. We need to be honest about that. We all work for accountants. This will make the accountants happy as well. Some other initiatives that we're very excited that we're working on is we're looking to, and we're at the very early stages, we're just constructing a governance committee now, but we're looking to create a residential accreditation standard. And so safety professionals will know, and most people will know of two standards. One would be CORE and one would be ISO. ISO is probably a little bit more popular in the residential sector than CORE, but if we're all being honest, neither are very popular. And so we're going to pull together as ResCon with the residential industry, and we're going to look to build an accreditation standard. And we'll obviously do with that with our partners at MLITSD, so Ministry of Labor, as well as the Chief Prevention Office and WSIB. And then I think the last one, and we've been talking about this for years, is we're going to push for increased recognition that how we build and new build residential construction is different, and we think much safer than they do in the other parts of the residential sector, including renovation. And this isn't to put the renovation sector down, but it is there to recognize the investments that residential builders and our sub-trades are making in their workplaces. And so we are bigger companies. We are more likely to have a joint health and safety committee. ResCon members and most of our sub-trades are unionized. That means there's unionized workers on site who have representation from the largest union in North America, and they have a strong voice. So they have a joint health and safety committee, they have union representation, but we also, most members have safety consultants. And so when you look at this and you look at our digitization efforts, compared to a renovator who's often much smaller, we are simply doing more in this space than anybody else is in the residential sector, and we think that should be recognized. So without further ado, I just wanted to give that kind of brief update as to what we're doing, in the residential sector with our safety partners, with our sub-trades, with the industry as a whole. And now we're going to hear from Rod Cook, who's going to give us an update. So Rod Cook is the Vice President of Workplace Health and Safety Services at WSIB. I know he's presented to our members before, and he used to be the Vice President of, I think it was HR with the WSIB. So he's had an illustrious career. I wouldn't say long because he's not an old guy, but he gets safety, he gets construction, and he's there to drive innovation, and he's there to focus on results, and he's there to focus on improving the health and safety outcomes of Ontario. And so it's always an honor to sit in the same room with him, but to have him speak at our webinar is a real treat. So thank you, Rod, for your efforts, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that introduction. And also, Andrew, thanks for saying I don't look old. That makes me feel good. Thank you. Well, welcome, everyone. It's great to be here with the residential construction group. A couple things that I thought I'd talk about today. I do want to get to the proactive piece of what we offer at WSIB in terms of helping residential construction invest in health and safety. Given the sessions on digitization, I thought I would also perhaps just give a little bit of an overview of some of our digital products, which can be helpful to all of you. There's a couple of opportunities at WSIB. So if you go to wsib.ca, you have the ability to change address, complete reconciliation forms, and look at your account right online. Now, unfortunately, sometimes incidents do happen in the workplace as well. And you have the opportunity as well to sign up for some of our online services. And part of those online services is the fact that you can do online Form 7s. This allows you to quickly report an injury or illness and avoids the traditional ways you've had to deal with WSIB in the past. We also have online premium services. You can use these to report and pay your premiums. The service helps with calculating your premium. All you need to do is key in your payroll, and it gives you insights into what your premiums are going to be, as well as reporting on any history that can make your bookkeeping much easier. Lastly, I'll just mention that the clearance tool is also there. So you can get a copy of your clearance certificate online, which makes it handy for when you need to present your clearance certificate. So those are a couple of things that are available to you with respect to our online services. Now, you also have the availability here to check out Compass and Safety Check. These are tools that allow you to compare your safety records with others in similar industries. So Compass and Safety Check are another excellent resource for you to be able to understand how you're performing relative to your competition. We've recently done an update on wsib.ca/workplace safety. Now, what we've done here is we've created a landing page where our goal is to be able to showcase all the relevant health and safety information in one place. One thing that we understand is that dealing with government, whether it's the ministry, your Health and Safety Association, or the WSIB, sometimes it's difficult for you to get the information that you want at your fingertips. This is what we're trying to do with this resource, the health and safety resource. Put all of the information in one place. So it has the ability to search for your Health and Safety Association, in your case, the IHSA. It also has all of the information that you require with respect to compliance and any programming that we offer at the WSIB. Our flagship program is known as the Health and Safety Excellence Program. And as Andrew articulated at the beginning, the desire to work towards a standard such as CORE or ISO is what some organizations are looking for. And the Health and Safety Excellence Program does align and help organizations work towards those certifications or accreditations. With what's happening in the residential construction industry, and Andrew raising that there's an interest in really developing something specifically for residential construction, we also have the ability with the Health and Safety Excellence Program to align our program to new standards. So we look at the Health and Safety Excellence Program as a journey for an organization who, regardless of where you are in terms of your health and safety maturity, whether you're looking to work towards a standard or you want to make an investment in health and safety. What's unique about our program is it offers financial incentives. We're the only program that offers those financial incentives. There's 39 topics, and they're layered in terms of foundational for organizations just getting started, intermediate, and advanced, whereas advanced leads towards the ability to achieve your core certification or ISO certification, or if there's a new standard, we could align it to that as well. The program's incentives are based on the achievement of topics. So I'm just checking here, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't actually, okay. So I just wanted to check if there was a list of the incentives in the slides. But so let me talk to what those incentives are. So as you complete topics, you earn a rebate for each of the topics that you've achieved. So under the program, we allow for 5 topics. It allows for you to work with a dedicated partner, which we call a provider in our network. And for small companies, which we define as less than 100, we offer $1,000 for creating an action plan. So that means identifying the provider that you're going to work with in creating an action plan. And then we offer a minimum of $1,000 per topic completed. So we need to look at each of the individual cases of an organization, but the rebate can range from $1,000 up to $50,000, depending on the premiums that you're paying as to the WSIB. If a business completes 5 topics, they would receive a minimum of $5,000 as a rebate. So there's a couple of different examples that could be used, but with the program that we're now offering to smaller companies where we're doubling rebates, that would mean an organization that signs up that has less than 100 employees will get $1,000 for creating an action plan, and then would receive $10,000 in rebates. I mentioned that the program is aligned to CORE for organizations that are interested. And as Andrew articulated at the beginning, as residential construction looks at defining what their standard is, we can do the same thing with the Health and Safety Excellence program and use this program to achieve and work towards the achievement of those that accreditation program that you're designing. So just to wrap up, and I'm open to any questions that you may have, the advantage of the Health and Safety Excellence program is that it does help you meet your legislative obligations. We also have the option of our new landing page at WSIB/workplace safety, where you can get all of this information. You don't necessarily have to join the Health and Safety Excellence program, but if you do join it, you can earn rebates. A lot of organizations also find value in our badge system to indicate that they are a member of the Health and Safety Excellence program, which helps with brand reputation. It also helps with attracting talent. And as I mentioned, you can earn rebates while creating a healthier and safer work environment. So Andrew talked about at the beginning, there's lots of good reasons to invest in health and safety. Many of them are financially related. It does create better businesses. And with this program, it actually helps you make those financial investments as well. So I'll wrap it up there, Andrew, and I'm open to questions if that's part of your agenda.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
We'll turn it over to Ahid.
Thank you, Rod, for that. So in terms of if I'm a company, I want to join the Health and Safety Excellence program, is there a cutoff? Is there a certain time that I need to join it, or is it all year round?
That's a great question. For 99% of our providers, it's any time during the year. There's 1 or maybe 2 providers that have certain time slots that you need to join. But we have over 26 providers now that are all, you can kind of look at it as licensed to provide the Health and Safety Excellence program. The IHSA is 1 provider, but you can go to our health and safety landing page on WSIB, and you'll see the full list of providers available.
Okay, so I would then just connect with the provider and they would walk me through the process of the Health and Safety Excellence plan.
You've got it.
Okay.
And I'm always available. I'm a big believer in investing health and safety. So if there's any navigation challenges, please let me know and I'll make sure people get in the right place. Okay,
perfect. And then does the WSIB distinguish in any way between new built and then the renovation sector, specifically that, like, do we get any credits for it, whether it's for the joint health and safety committees that the new built industry has, or the role of the union, or the role of the safety consultants and all that stuff that we have? So does the WSIB make any differentiation between new built and renovation?
As far as the Health and Safety Excellence program goes, no. But things that you already have in place as part of your health and safety, it would be looked at in terms of topic completion. But the design of the reason we have incentives with the Health and Safety Excellence program is not to provide incentives for things that you've already done, is to help you invest in the future of your health and safety and to find new things that can be done to create safer workplaces.
Yeah, so we have an anonymous question saying, is the WSIB accepting new providers?
Is it? No, it's the provider network is closed right now. Whoever that individual is, you're happy to reach out to me. My email address is a little bit complicated, but it's rodney_c_cook@wsib.on.ca. And we can certainly put you on a waiting list, and I'd be happy to have a separate conversation with respect to our provider network.
Okay, and if you don't mind, we can also include your email in the post-event summary that we typically send in case people have questions.
Perfect.
And then just last thing about the Health and Safety Excellence Program, how is it different than safety groups that WSIB had?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So I moved into this portfolio in 2017, and through 2017 and 2018, part of what I was tasked with was looking at the effectiveness of the safety groups program. And I'll say this, that the safety groups program had existed for a number of years, and it was a good program, and there's a excellent incentive and promoted collaboration amongst organizations. However, it was difficult to find the business case of, spending millions of dollars on rebates and what it was doing to actually improve health and safety in Ontario. And that could have been a result of the fact that the program had been around for a while, and at the time, we only had about 1,500 customers left in safety groups, and there were customers that were a part of safety groups for a number of years. So we consulted over about 18 months with a number of players in occupational health and safety, a lot of businesses, a lot of providers as well, and health and safety professionals. And we created this program. And what's different about it than safety groups is the fact that there's a clear roadmap to a standard. The incentives are very similar to under the safety group program, but there is a real emphasis on new health and safety investment rather than continuous improvement. That's a big change. And the reason that's important is we don't want to have premiums in Ontario partially driven by companies who are using premiums for continuous improvement. That should be a part of normal business operation, that we're looking at continuously improving our health and safety. This program is designed to help companies with the 39 topics to move forward with new investments in health and safety and to make their workplaces safer. The program is being studied by the University of British Columbia right now. It's been a four-year study, and what we're looking for is the correlation between the investments that we're making in health and safety and improvements with health and safety. What we found with the Health and Safety Excellence Program is, number one, it's grown significantly. We have over 4,000 customers now, which is a dramatic increase over the safety groups program. But as well, there's that more of a focus through our provider network of helping businesses figure out what their best investment is in order to, yes, get a rebate, but more importantly, improve health and safety. And when we improve health and safety, it economically helps companies. It also helps with premium rates. So that's how I kind of distinguish the two of them. But there's no question about it. The Health and Safety Excellence Program was born from what we learned from the Safety Groups Program.
Okay, makes sense. And then I think this will be our last question. Is there a minimum size of company to participate in the program?
No, anyone can participate in the program. So again, it simply reach out to us. Go to our website. There's tons of information on the WSIB website about the program, and we're also happy to help if you want to connect directly. and help you find a provider.
Alrighty, perfect. So thank you for being with us, Rod, and we'll make sure to include all like the information you've mentioned in the post-event summary and also your email in case anybody has any other questions. So I'll turn it back over to Andrew, of
Thanks for the opportunity.
course.
Thank you, and thank you for that presentation, Rod, and all the great work that you do. So moving along, next up will be Steve Hack. So I got to know Steve because he is probably the preferred safety consultant in the residential sector. He certainly has more than a couple builders as members. And when I went and checked with those builders, they seemed to be pretty happy with him. So that's always good. And so I got to know him when he was with, and I think he's still there, with Smart Safety Construction Safety Training. But he's speaking us today as the Vice President of SafetyLoop. And so instead of stealing his thunder, which I often do, I'm just going to let him talk. So that'll be my very short introduction.
You can keep going, Andrew, with that intro. Thank you. So what we're going to do, Andrew, first off, we're going to start off with an intro video that will basically describe who we are and how we got here today. So.
Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to Andrew and ResCon for this remarkable collaboration, providing us with an invaluable opportunity to significantly enhance safety initiatives within the residential construction industry through standardization and the application of technology. Allow me first, though, to provide you with a brief overview of our journey to this point. I believe it's crucial that everybody understands our background and the reasons behind our decision 6 years ago to leverage our homes for a tech venture focusing on developing safety software. When we looked at software 6 years ago for the reasons of getting companies course certified, it became very evident that there were no products out there that could do what we as safety managers truly wanted and needed. So we decided to start our own. Our vision was straightforward. Craft a safety software exclusively tailored by safety managers for safety managers. This software needed to be adaptable, versatile, and user-friendly, and capable of overseeing an entire safety system seamlessly from A to Z. More importantly, we aspired to create a safety software that would revolutionize the way we as safety managers design, implement, and manage our own safety system. Our objective was straightforward: to assist safety managers in achieving the seamlessly impossible, making your lives easier, more efficient, and less disruptive. And here are the focal points upon which we can do that. We need to stop chasing. We need to put an end to the unnecessary, time-consuming task of chasing all that paperwork, training records, inspections, and all of those critical documents. Imagine the significant amount of time that could be redirected towards proactive safety initiatives instead of spending countless hours chasing. Next, real-time accountability. Ensure real-time accountability by instantly knowing all the assigned safety tasks have been completed. Have precise information on who performed the tasks, when they were completed, and even more crucially, identify those who have not fulfilled their responsibilities. Lastly, comprehensive visibility. Provide safety managers with a complete visibility into the performance of your safety system. This empowers you to have a clear understanding of how well your safety measures are functioning. Empower safety managers with a capability to gain a deep understanding of your safety system's performance. Measure crucial key performance indicators and compare them against established standards. Imagine the advantage of being constantly informed about your progress in achieving milestones such as WSIB Excellence, Core 2020, and ISO 45001. Now I'll pass off the floor to Desi, who will guide you through the concise version of our demonstration. Thank you.
Alrighty, so.
Put my glasses on.
Yep, I'm gonna share my screen.
If you didn't know, this is Desi.
How's it going, everybody? Gotta just.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Well,
First,
Alrighty. So, as Steve alluded to, we're going to give you a run through of our software SafetyLoop, and kind of walk through how we at SafetyLoop feel that our product addresses the key issues. On the right, to give you some context, this screen over here is our field worker, Steve, who's on site and needs to complete his safety paperwork. And this screen on the left is me as the safety manager monitoring my company's health and safety management system. So one of the common themes that Steve and Andrew had mentioned today is proactive safety and getting rid of chasing paperwork. So as we run through our demo, we're going to kind of show you different ways we can do that. And to start, our biggest feature in regards to proactive safety is our ability to schedule and assign inspections. So I can run into my job hazard analysis, and on my job site, I need, on Aurora Meadows, I need this to be done every morning by 9 a.m. So in here, I can set the frequency of the inspection and the time that it needs to be due. Over here, I can assign which of my employees need to complete the inspection, as well as I can extend that to our subcontractors to have full, complete control and visibility into my project. Once we have that set, we can effectively move into our monitoring of inspections. So we utilize our 5 rings to determine our live pulse check on our job sites. We can see anything that's scheduled daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or even annually. As long as we see all green, we know everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and everything is good. As soon as we start to see red, we know something's not right. And we can see here, we've missed 35 inspections today. So I can dive deep and I can see specifically on which of those projects, which inspections I've missed. So if I go into our Aurora Meadows project, I see that we have 10 members that missed the inspection this morning. It was due at 9:15 a.m. They were all supposed to do their daily hazard assessment. From there, notifications will go out to each user that they've missed their inspection, as well as me as the health and safety manager will receive an email notifying me of who's missed all the inspections. And that's how we tackle proactive safety. To enhance on our full visibility and control, we don't only have it internally to our organization, we extend that to the subcontractors. And from there, I'll dive into our subcontractor menu. And this is where we can see all of our subcontractors that are on our projects. So I'm going to click here and do a deep dive onto this subcontractor. I can see all the employees from that subcontractor that are assigned to my project. I can actually see all those training records for that employee that are assigned to my project. I also can see the status, whether they're expired or active. We can dive into here and I can see all the completed forms that those subcontractors have completed for me. If I wanted to come in here, I can view the appendix and I can see the completed form that they have done. I can also view the documents they make public. All the required documents they're required to send me before the job starts, and all the documents I have to chase and manually get via email is all immediately available to me as soon as they join my project. This allows us to have full visibility and control over our subcontractors. Now, Steve, our field worker, is going to run through how we drive orientations seamlessly and swiftly on projects.
So I'm on site, I walk up, I can actually just scan a QR code, just gotta find the right one. Jump in. I don't even have to be on the app to do this. You can assign a QR code to anybody that's entering your site. Just enter my name. Proceed.
Welcome to the Residential Construction Safety Orientation. We are committed to providing safety leadership and fostering innovation in the industry, and we strive to ensure that everybody is treated with dignity and fairness and ultimately enjoy your working environment. General safety rules. All employees must comply with the Occupational Health and Safety Act and associated regulations, standards, and codes. All work shall be carried out as per the safe work practices and safe job procedures on the Health and Safety Manual. All unsafe acts and conditions, near-miss incidents, property damage, and injuries are to be reported using the incident report form or directly to your supervisor. Persons failing to comply with legislation or applicable standards, policies, and procedures will be subject to the risk and disciplinary policy. Thank you to everyone for attending the orientation. We ask that all instructions given within this presentation are followed. Do not hesitate to ask questions or provide feedback. Please sign below for confirmation of attendance. Thank you, and remember, safety is everyone's responsibility.
Now, I know we all wish orientations were that short, but we did that obviously on purpose to expedite our orientation here. For a full example, I enter my name. And we save and exit. Forgot to sign it, but no matter, and it's done.
And as you can see here, our system is live and you're monitoring everything as it happens in the field. So no more disconnect. As soon as Steve started his orientation, we saw it pop up right here. The next thing I want to show you, and then another, as safety managers, task that's always been onerous on us is training records and monitoring those training records. So we drive training records in a way that we force it to come to you as opposed to chasing the training records. And to start, I'm going to go into our training profiles. So what we have the ability to do is, as a very adaptable system, allow you to create your job profiles and training profiles custom to any position or profile you choose. So for example, here we have an operator, and we can determine which training topics that are mandatory for that operator. And that operator may have different training records that are mandatory compared to a worker or a supervisor. And from there, when we set our job profiles and we assign them to users, when we go into our training matrix, we're able to see not only what they've completed and if it's active or if it's expired, but we can see what's yet to start. So we know that Bernie has not completed any of his training, has not started any of them. We know that Ethan over here, not only does he have some that need to start, some that are active, we can also see some that are coming up within 60 days. And to get a more granular view, we do have another view of our training records, where we can see all of our training records internally based on employee, based by topic, based by job profile. What it also allows us to do is count down from 90, 60, 30, and then expired. So if I wanted to know everyone that was coming up due in 60 days, I'm able to go in here and I see one person, and lo and behold, it's Ethan. If I wanted to export all of these training records to a PDF, I instantly have access to all those training records with the date they completed, the expiry date, as well as actual links to their records, seamlessly and easily available to anyone. Next, we're going to have Steve demonstrate our emergency response plan using the SafetyLoop app. So Steve's a worker in the field. There's a problem. There's a tower crane rescue that needs to be done. So he's going to go into his emergency plan and he's going to activate the tower crane rescue. And he's going to select that it's a major incident. And as soon as he does that, you'll notice in the bottom corner here, a notification's gotten sent out. To all parties that need to be notified, a notification will go right away. Now Steve has access to the procedure, what he needs to do in the event, and any additional attachments me as a safety manager want to give to him at his disposal. Now Steve's going to go back and we want to find the closest hospital to us because we got to take this worker there. He's going to click on hospitals near me, and he's going to click, we're going to see actually the hospitals closest to the farthest based on my GPS location on my device. We're going to hit the pin, And it's going to bring us right into our Google Maps or Apple Maps and bring us right to the closest hospital. And that's how we demonstrate swift and effective emergency response via SafetyLoop. The next thing I want to go through is our hazard assessment and how we bring the right hazards to not only supervisors, but to the field worker swiftly and quickly. So I'm going to start a JHA on my phone here on the computer from the desktop, and we're going to run through it. So I'm going to start the form. I'm doing this on the Aurora Meadows project. We're going to hit start. All of our forms, and as you noticed on Steve's menu, and we'll touch on it later, is going to time and date stamp, location, and whether, who has done what. So I'm going to come here and I can answer these questions. Emergency assembly point is going to be the main gate. Work location, we're working on the ground floor today. And we have some more questions. Required PPE, I'm going to click here and we could do multiple select. I need my boots, my hard hat, my vest, and safety glasses on this. Required tools, well, I'm using a tower crane. We're using some power tools, a scaffold, and some hand tools. We're going to go to the next page. So here's where we get into our hazard assessment. And what we do and what we're able to do is, as a safety manager and the hazard assessments I've created for my company and the workers, I'm able to collect all that data and give it to the fingertips of the worker in the field. So he comes in here and selects the task he's doing. He's operating a hoist and he's using a heater. Well, gone are the days of the worker manually putting in their hazards and controls and no consistency between those tasks. Now, all the hazards, controls, pre and post risk rating are immediately available to him. The next page of our JHA, we have some yes or no questions, some inspection questions. And one of those is being, our skid steers and backhoe have been inspected and ready to use for today's work? Well, no, actually there's a problem. So I'm going to select which skid steer I have a problem with. And I'm going to put my information here. And then I'm going to create an action item to alert Steve that, something's not working and we need it fixed. So our issue is bucket is not working. Please send mechanic to do. I'm going to assign it to within my own company to Steve. And I need this done by tomorrow at 7:44 a.m. Let's get specific. We're going to update, and Steve's going to get a notification. You'll notice in the bottom that the bucket's not working. So before we get to there, I'm just going to close out this form. I'm going to select my name. And I'm going to sign off on it. And I'm going to complete it. And so before we get into the action item that we just assigned to Steve, what we also wanted to demonstrate was the ability that to extend the signing off of paperwork beyond anyone who has the app. So what we can actually do is obtain this QR code, and I can give this to anyone on site that maybe doesn't have the app downloaded. And Steve's going to demonstrate it. And he can come in. He'll be able to see the JHA. And then he can actually select his name. Scroll down, sign, and submit. And now you've just allowed anybody on your job site that needs to review that JHA to sign off quickly and easily without having the app. And if we view that JHA that's just been completed, not only can we see everything that we had before, down here, we're going to have everyone's signatures that have signed off. So we're going to jump into the action item that we sent Steve, that the bucket's not working. So on my dashboard, I'm going to open up here. This is me monitoring from a top level. Steve's going to go into the action item, and he's going to view the PDF to see, well, let's see what's going on. What's wrong? So he can actually open the inspection that this came from and view the details. So he's going to scroll all the way to the bottom because we've conveniently made it so all the action items collate at the bottom. And we see that bucket is not working. So he's going to go back to the action screen and he's going to write us a note that he's on the way.
Oops, we don't want to take a picture yet.
And he's going to add it. And as Steve updates the action item to in progress, everything he does on his phone as a worker is in a live setting. So I, as the health and safety manager, immediately see what is going on and that someone is on it. And so if I refresh here, sorry, we can see that the status is updated to in progress. And I see that Steve's on the way to repair the bucket. So now Steve's on site. He's repaired the bucket. He's going to let us know that it's all good to go. He's going to go back to the action item. He is going to write us a note that he's fixed the action item. Fixed the bucket. And then he's going to take a picture of the working bucket. And then he's going to hit add note. And then he's going to complete and approve the action item. And just like that, we've effectively, easily, and quickly created an action plan and closed out the corrective actions with proof of pictures, signatures, scroll on here, signatures, and notes. The next thing we want to demonstrate is our asset tracking, especially in respect to tower cranes. So what Steve's going to do now, he's just climbed the crane to operate his crane for the day. And he's going to conduct his daily inspection. So he's going to hit on assets. And he's going to scan the QR code that's sitting in the top of the crane. And so from here, when we scan an asset, we can see all the related assets. So if I click on that, Steve's going to click on related assets. And that's going to bring in all of our components of this tower crane that are all individually identified and put together. We're going to go back to the asset menu. And Steve's going to see if there's any maintenance due. And lo and behold, our annual inspection, well, it's scheduled, it's not due. We're okay there. We're going to go back and we're going to check the documents now. We're going to make sure that our erection plan is there, our post-erection report, any safe work procedures we require, all immediately available to me as I scan that QR code. We're going to go back and Steve's going to start his inspection. So he's going to hit new form. And he's going to select his daily tower crane checklist on the Aurora Metals project. And he's going to do his form. And from here, like I mentioned, the weather, GPS location, time and date stamp, they're all automatic. So you know when someone's doing their inspection, they're in that crane. Our software is very adaptable and we can accommodate any form your organization uses. Steve's going to select his crane. And he's going to input the tracking of how many days it's been up. He's going to sign off that it's him doing this inspection. Continue. And this is going to be an example of different ways we can build inspections. We can embed pictures, embed videos, as you saw with the orientation, but make it very easy and quick for the worker in the field to conduct their inspection. Pass, fail, not applicable. As easy as ever. Steve's going to sign off that he's completed the inspection. And he's going to finish the form, mark as complete at the bottom. And so as he goes back to the asset menu, he's just gone up into the crane. He's on a new crane today. And he wants to ensure that all the inspections have been done to date. Well, he's going to hit forms. And he's going to be able to see a history of inspections that have been done to that crane. So at any time, I can scan that QR code and see the history and know that everyone's done what they're supposed to do. Gone are the days of chasing. Everything comes to us. Last thing we wanted to show you was an example of how our business intelligence software, our analytics can work. You wanna?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Andrew alluded to, the utilization of technology and a tool that such as we have, what our mission from a safety perspective and our vision is to be able to create business analytics software that will monitor your entire safety system and keep it aligned with what your vision is or what your plan is for accreditation. So no matter what accreditation model that you select, we can basically build the BI tool to be reflective of all the data points that will select in your system, and then pull those data points and then measure them against the accreditation standard that you're trying to achieve, and we can do that in real time. So like I said in my video, I think this changes the game on monitoring your daily, weekly, monthly success at maintaining and achieving that accreditation standard and making sure that we help you guys as safety managers become successful and well, yeah, keep you right on track. And I think that's it.
It's a very brief overview of SafetyLoop.
Perfect. Thank you both for that. We have a bunch of questions coming in, so we'll go through them one by one. So on any given day, a construction site is going to have around 25 sub-trades at the same time. So how do I sign them up? Do they each need to have their own account on SafetyLoop, or do they use my account? How would that work?
Sorry, repeat the question. I apologize.
So now that I have a bunch of different sub-trades on my site and I want them to adopt SafetyLoop, do they have to use my account? Like, how would I get them integrated into my system? Do they each have to have their own system, or do they just log into my system?
They will get their own account under you as the overall user. They will
Right.
have their own identity, if you will, and they will be connected with you at the project level. They will do everything in their own account, so to speak, but it would be connected to your project. So you have full clarity and visibility.
And
that.
what's the way we wanted to construct this ecosystem model so that it becomes fluid and easy for the entire industry is that once we create the constructor, the platform for the constructor, and then we introduce all the sub-trades into it. Once that sub-trade has basically created their profile, no matter what other constructor is using SafetyLoop, that once they land on that particular constructor's job, it takes one email to seamlessly connect all of their safety data with a constructor so that they can communicate and assign back and forth. So you only have integrated once.
Okay, and if I have specific forms that I want that specific subtrade to fill in, can I customize these forms?
Everything is
Yes.
customizable, from JHAs, TRAs to orientations to whatever you want. We take initially we'll take all the GC's forms, and they send them to our team, and then our team basically replicates those forms in a digital format. And then we work with the constructor or the subtrade to make sure that they're fluid for the digitized environment. And that's extremely important because some things converted to that digital form isn't fluid, or we have to make sure that it's easy for the end user when they start using it in the field.
Perfect. That's a great segue actually to the next question. And now, majority of sites don't really have this whole digitization thing. It is an innovative thing that we're doing. How fast do I have to take all my system, like all the processes that I have, and into this digitization system? And then what sort of help or guidance do you guys provide throughout the process? Because I'm sure it's going to take time for not only the builders' employees to adapt, but also the sub-trades to adapt. So what sort of resources and supports do you guys offer?
So I consider SafetyLoop a tool to help support and implement or continued integration and development of a safety culture. And as we know, as seasoned safety professionals, it could take years to develop a safety culture. When moving that kind of culture into a digitized platform, I mean, it takes a while. And we know that people don't like change. So I mean, if you wanted to overnight everything, I mean, you could pay more for Pure Later Express in one day, but we don't suggest that. Take your time, baby step everything, every form, everything that you want to implement, and then get acceptance in the field, and then you'll see a significant uptake in acceptance towards that digitized world. The construction, as we know it, is very backdated, and we have a lot of old school guys out there. I think we're right in that precipice of that big conversion from, unfortunately, all the old school guys leaving the industry, and we have a greater influx of younger generation. And I think that's great for for the administration of a digitized environment, digitized world, but we still got a lot of old guys there. We deal with bricklayers, we deal with a lot of forming companies, and they can become frustrated, not necessarily because of our software, obviously, but because they don't know how to use phones all that well. So or iPhones or whatever. So I think there was a second part to answer to that question.
Yeah, would there be like any orientations to actually support employers to adopt this easier if they are not understanding the system, if they need more clarity on how to use it to its best potential, all that?
Yep, no, we have a field team that will respond to any needs, questions. We do Zoom calls all day long to walk people through the process, as well as we are introducing a onboard assistant within SafetyLoop to help guide any new users through each step. So.
Okay, so there is a question also, do subs count as users in your price model? If so, does each worker from that subcontractor or like, do they need a single account per sub trade, or does each person need to have their account?
No, so when with the constructor and the subcontractor relationship, when the constructor introduces that subcontractor onto their particular project, that subcontractor is actually free. When that subcontractor decides at some point that they think this is an extremely valuable tool for the internal usage, at that time they contact us, and we sign them up as a paying client, and then they have full usage of the system.
All right, so until they actually sign up on their own, all they need to do is actually just fill the forms that the builder is giving them. That's mostly what they're going to be able to do. All right, so recently there was the city of Sudbury case that I'm sure everybody's well aware of. So how does SafetyLoop limit my liability, just keeping in mind the city of Sudbury case and things like that?
Listen, Andrew hit it on the head. We're in a world of due diligence and CYA, and I think everybody knows what CYA is. And pure and simply, the more paperwork and the more data that you can produce for your defensive due diligence, and in our system, obviously, it'll never get lost. It's updated every 15 minutes. The more data and due diligence in your system, the more proactive you are with safety. I mean, you're going to use one of the most advanced safety softwares, around. I mean, that in itself is going to help elevate and escalate companies' due diligence and their safety practices and their culture to another level. So, in talking with Norm Keith a number of times about this, I mean, you as long as you meet a very high reasonable of care, you should be in a very good spot to not have to worry about being in a situation similar to the Sudbury case. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so I guess due diligence is the answer. So I want to open it up for Andrew. Do you have any other follow-up questions?
I think there was a couple kind of user questions, and so I think we've tried to ask them in a more general setting. I think maybe one. So I think some people were asking about customization, records of training, stuff like that. I don't know if you want to talk about record of training features, and then I think some questions were around the mobile application. So I don't know if you want to give an update on those two issues. In the app.
In issues or
just how it works, like to talk about the fact that you have that you can see the records of training and kind of any mobile platforms you have.
100%. I mean, I could dive back into it on mobile if you want, but we
Sure.
have every You want to do it?
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do it.
So this will just take a second.
So while Steve's setting up, with our training records, as I mentioned, you can create not only the profiles, but you have the ability to create any record or topic that your organization has. So it's not necessarily a preset menu where it's working at heights and nothing else. It's anything you want to determine to be a training record can actually be a training record. So I'm just going to get the screen set up here before we get our phone back on here.
I'm on.
You're on. Let me just drag it to the other screen. And share. All right. So this is Steve's view as an employee. And then we're going to actually show you what an admin view would be on a mobile as well. But for Steve, he can go into his trainings and see all of his trainings that apply to him. He can view and then actually view the PDF or the actual document of it. I'm just going to actually jump into the records of training here. And again, on the website, I can.
I'm just gonna follow up with that
Yeah.
for 1 second. When I go back in my trainings as an employee, the great benefit of the app is I can actually go and take training. I can actually add training, select what these predetermined topics are by my employer, and then complete the training, put the expiry date in, and then I can create it. And then it gets submitted to my employer, in this case, Desi, who will have direct access, immediate access to it on the dashboard. So if I go and select working at heights, done, completion of training was confirmed, expiry date, well, we all know it's about 3 years. And then take my camera, I take a proof copy of my training card, I use the photo, and within seconds, I can now send it to my employer instead of my employer chasing me down for the certificate.
And then, oh, hit create, sorry.
Oh,
You have to finish it,
sorry,
bottom left.
create, done.
And then I guess as an employer, I might get an email from, let's say, Andrew at ResCon says, I know the MOL doesn't do blitzes anymore, but we still call them blitzes. So let's say they do a fall blitz in the spring. So I send an email from ResCon to all the members. The members get that email. Can they, and I think I know the answer, but can they send an email to then everybody on site or through SafetyLoop and say, hey, I want to make sure that everybody's got working at heights on site. Like, how does that work? Because that's a real case thing that probably would happen.
What we could actually do, and it's something it's very recent we've introduced, it's our to-do list. So I
Okay.
can come into here and say, yeah, new to do, and this is totally what I want it to be. It's a blank canvas.
Fall protection.
Andrew. So you know what?
Mhm.
Everyone add your latest working at heights training. And I can put in more description if I want, and I say I want this done by Monday. And this is where I can select all the employees that I need to assign it to. I hit create and it gets sent out and the employee gets a notification. Now, obviously Steve's in the app, so it just came
Sure.
there. He would get a banner notification as well.
Yep, you'll see my to-do notification at the top.
And you can
I
go,
select it and it says,
yeah,
obviously. it's
mention you to do, everyone add your latest
Yeah.
workers of training.
Right. And then somebody in head office gets that and then they can be in touch with site. And so then obviously
Yep.
the laggers can be reminded, obviously, as politely as possible.
Exactly. And anyone who updates their training, as Steve alluded to, as the admin, as the health and safety manager, I come in here and I see what's waiting for approval. And this one was the one Steve added. I can come here, view it, and I can either approve it. Yeah, it looks good. Or I can actually decline it and say, yeah, no, this is, I'm just gonna expand this over here. My screen's a little cut off, but I'm gonna go and approve it. And it's now added to his records of training.
And then, so here's a related question. Can the employee have access to changing their previous cert dates? I'm guessing they just have to send their new cert again, but I'll turn it to you guys.
So all of it would be driven from the admin.
Yeah.
If they were to say have a revise or if I declined it because it was wrong, they would be able to go in there and revise it. But no, the admin would be the one that could manipulate dates in that scenario. But the worker would have to upload a new training record for that. Yes.
Perfect. And then we're seeing the two of you, but I know that there's more behind the safety loop. Do you guys want to kind of talk about the other members of the team?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing again.
Yeah, well, Andrew, I mean, this all started 6 years ago with myself, Bernie, and a gentleman by the name of Paul Masadi. I actually hired Paul Masadi in 1993, and we've kept in touch. But Paul has a very extensive, resume in safety, and working for some very large organizations. And then hooked up with Bernie, who happened to be bored because he's just sold his IT business. So he lived in that space for 20 years. So when you put Bernie with his extensive IT and myself and Paul with, 60 years plus of safety experience, and then with Paul's, Bernie's IT experience, we thought it was the perfect storm. And back then thought it was a crazy idea. And sometimes, I wonder if it was the best idea in the world, but I've recognized that we're about to change the way we do safety in this industry. And I could not be more excited to be part of ResCon and more excited about what we're about to do in this industry.
Perfect. And I don't think I've got any more questions, so I'll turn it back to you, Ahid.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much, guys, for your presentation. We've certainly learned a lot about SafetyLoop, and I think the demonstration on the iPhone was also very great to see how it actually happens from the actual employee's perspective. So thank you for that. So we'll share all the details in our post-event summary. So just as a quick reminder, this webinar is recorded, and we're going to share it. We'll share their link after this ends. And once you click close, there's going to be a short survey that's just going to ask you a few questions about the webinar. Please take just 2 minutes of your time to answer it. And if you have any other follow-up questions that you'd like to direct to Steve or Rod, just put them in that survey and we'll make sure it gets to them. So thank you again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great to see everybody.